Birthday should be the happiest day of the year for a child. But for one boy, his day was riddled with letdowns. From the beginning of the day, the poor kid had been passed aside. No one knew it was his special day. Even his mom let him down in the worst way imaginable. To put a rotten cherry atop his forgotten birthday cake, police were sent to his school to fetch him. And that's when things got interesting. Before we begin, if you are interested in this type of video, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell. As he rushed down the stairs of his home, Tom hoped for some kind of celebration waiting for him. But much to his dismay, it seemed as though his mom had forgotten his birthday again. That was a tough blow to be dealt with as a child, but he kept his spirits alive with the hopes that she would make it up to him. But poor Tom had no idea things were only going to get worse. As they arrived at Howes Elementary, Tom reminded his mom of what day it was, as if she could forget. And when she told Tom about his awesome surprise waiting for him later that day, the little boy beamed. His mom had promised him a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese with all of his friends. She handed him a bag of candy stuffed in her car's side pocket and sent him off to school. But little did Tom know, Chuck E. Cheese would never happen, and it was all because of one shady character. The single mom who had been working 3 jobs to make ends meet hadn't had a second to spare in her day-to-day routine. From 5 a.m. to midnight, she was on the clock, which made spending time with her son on his birthday a critical affair. And even though she worked in a town an hour and a half away, she always made it just in time to pick up Tom from school. But as she jumped in her car and turned around, she too knew that wasn't going to happen. As the final bell of the day rang, Tom raced out of the classroom. He met up with some of his friends and asked them if they were excited for Chuck E. Cheese later. Much to his surprise, none of them knew what he was talking about. But he had faith that his mom would come through for him, and so he went to the collection point and waited for her to arrive. And waited, until he was the last child sitting there. One teacher noticed Tom sitting alone in the collection area. She went to chat with him only to learn that his mom was meant to be fetching him. However, she was nowhere to be seen. The day had been out for 20 minutes already. Other children had left, and the waiting area seemed like a ghost town. When the teacher phoned the mother to find out where she was met with the sound of sirens blaring on the other line. It had been a rough day for Tom's mom. Today, as she was backing out of her parking space after work, a car coming out of nowhere clipped her. The driver of that car dramatically fell out of his vehicle, claiming whiplash. The police arrived, lawyers were called, and even the fire department was on the scene. This guy knew what she was doing. Distraught, she called the school, telling them that she had no idea when she would get back. However, the teacher had a plan for Tom. The teacher ushered Tom into the school's reception office. He chatted avidly with the receptionist and told her it was his birthday. He also shared how he couldn't wait to be taken to Chuck E. Cheese by his mom. The teacher didn't have the heart to tell him it probably wouldn't happen. She quickly went through his files in an attempt to find his emergency contact, but that proved to be harder than she had thought. Firstly, Tom's files were an absolute mess, but no matter how hard she tried, Tom's teacher couldn't find an emergency contact. It seemed as though his mother had only put down her own details for all contact fields on the form. The teacher was left pulling at strings. She had no idea what to do. Eventually, as the day grew longer, she did the only thing she could for the child. The teacher had no other option but to call the police. What a terrible thing to do on your birthday, she thought, but the child needed someone to collect him. As such, Daryl Robinson was dispatched. As soon as he arrived at the school, he recognized the boy from previous encounters. When Tom saw the cop arrive, he couldn't understand what was happening. It was his birthday. Why was he in trouble? But then, Officer Daryl did something unthinkable. Daryl was familiar with Tom's grandfather, so when he found out it was his birthday, he gave his granddad a call. Daryl asked if he could take Tom on a ride in his car for his special day before dropping him at home. Tom's grandfather gladly agreed to the gesture. With that, Tom raced to the cop car for the adventure of his life. But this would only be the beginning of his birthday spoils. He had to sit in the back, but he seemed to love it, Officer Daryl shared when interviewed. Tom had never been in a cop car before. He felt like a real champion. Which other children could say they had a police escort for their birthday? When he animatedly told Officer Daryl about his Chuck E. Cheese birthday party, Daryl's heart sank. But quickly, the officer had a fine idea. All it would take was one voucher. The police officers of Green Bay are issued one cheeseburger voucher from the local McDonald's. Officer Daryl pulled his from his wallet and asked Tom if he was hungry. Tom excitedly expressed that he was, so off the pair went to McDonald's. Tom ferociously ate his cheeseburger with glee as Daryl watched on in sheer happiness. But he knew he had to do more for the little boy for his big day. So then, they went off to their next stop. Next on their stop, Daryl took Tom to the station. Tom was in awe of the cool police until and excitedly explored the area. Fellow officers put together a very makeshift birthday present for him. Tom was presented with a pack of Green Bay Packers cards along with a few stick-on tattoos. Even though they were small, the force was humbled at how thankful Tom was for his gift. But then, it was time to head home. What started out as a rubbish day turned into one of the most memorable birthdays Tom will ever have. And it was all thanks to Officer Daryl. When his story was shared, it quickly went viral. One woman even phoned him and asked if she could deliver presents for Tom to the station to celebrate his big day. If I can have the impact my police captain did for me and he could choose a career in law enforcement and keep this cycle going, I think it would be great. Please don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell for more content like this.